313 dispatch. The whole bridge just fell down.
The good news always waits until the morning. The bad news wakes you up. He said, boss, I'm really sorry to let you know, but he said, the Key Bridge is gone. And it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm sorry, which Key Bridge? And he's like, the Key Bridge.
As soon as I hit the bed, my phone's ringing and it's Chief Wallace. And I'll never forget it. He said, sir, the Key Bridge is gone. And I said, repeat that? He said, it's gone. A container ship hit it. It's in the water.
For Maryland leaders, the questions came fast on March 26. How many people were on the Key Bridge? What caused the collapse? Could lives be saved?
But the thing that was just so apparent was the task that was standing in front of you, and that you were just at the very beginning of it.
It was just this big black hole down there. This dark silence where there would normally be a lot of noise.
The only certainty you have is uncertainty. The amount of people who are about to wake up and realize that they didn't have a job anymore. The amount of people that will wake up and realize that the route that they took to get to their job was now gone. The amount of families that are about to get phone calls with news that every single one of us would dread to ever get.
We have this rich history of immigrants and what they've done, and these men were doing the same thing, right? They were all out there improving lives for all of us that take that bridge.
Corazones están con las familias.
You made a concerted effort numerous times to speak in Spanish.
One of the family members, she repeatedly would say, quiero el cuerpo, I want the body, I want the body.
At the water's edge, heroes were trying their hardest and risking their own safety.
It was wearing on them because they wanted to be able to have some good news come out of this tragedy. And you just have to thank those folks every single time you see them.
It serves as both this undeniable reminder of the fragility of life and how instantaneously things can be taken.
And I think about just the heroism of these first responders who...
Day one would come to a close with the governor drawing upon his skills as a combat veteran, knowing that chaos had to be met with calm and a unified command.
Here we go, guys.
And the mayor, sleep-deprived from a new baby at home, would come to know a different level of fatigue.
It's just one tumultuous and really seismic shift of emotions.
Will you ever be the same after this experience?
Never. That experience it's changed me forever.
All right, Deborah Weiner joining us now to talk more about these interviews, and just to point out again, they were done before the NTSB report was released.
Yes, and which was, of course, a game changer when
Yeah.
it comes to this story. You know, I want to look at these two very different leaders who obviously worked in tandem. You know, the Baltimore mayor has been in City Hall for 18 years, and he has gone from tragedy to tragedy, emergency to emergency. The governor, who had never held elected office before, right, who had not had that experience as a public servant, but who, as he indicated, drew upon his military experience to really go into combat for the state of Maryland.
Yeah, and did they talk about kind of the moments they were most proud of in response to the disaster at all?
Yes, and I think they talked about numerous things, but in this particular order, they were very grateful that the bodies of the victims were able to be recovered. Very important for the families. They were very grateful that no first responders were injured in the frigid, murky waters.
Yeah.
Very grateful for that as well. And grateful that the state stood shoulder to shoulder.
Right.
Different parties, different persuasions, that everyone stood together in those first few days as part of a unified command. Grateful for that as well.
Definitely a team effort, for
Yeah.
sure. All right, Deb, thank you so much.